Hey guys, welcome back and happy Halloween to everybody. Sorry I haven't been on for a while. I just had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, being pretty busy with work, family, and other things. Um, but since it's Halloween and we still have like time to talk about some scary movies, I figure why not talk about a couple. And the first one I want to do today is one that I haven't talked about before, and that is a Stephen King adaptation. That is Stephen King's Sometimes They Come Back. And this came out in 1991 as a TV movie. It's directed by Tom McLaughlin. Um, it stars Tim Matheson, Brooke Adams, Robert Russler, Chris Demetral, Robert Hyde Gorman, and William Sanderson. And this story was published back in the 70s in that short story collection, Night Shift, which I have shown before in one of my older videos. I did a three-part collection of showing off my Stephen King books, which I'll have to redo because I've got a lot since then. Um, but yeah, if you've seen that video, I think it was in part two or three. Um, that's a short story collection book. That this story is part of that. And originally, years ago, because years prior to this movie, Cat's Eye was a movie, and that had some Stephen King short stories in it. And this was actually going to be in that originally, but they canceled that, and they decided to make it its own movie. So that's what they did. And the basic plot line of the movie is basically this guy named Jim Norman who moves back to his childhood town with his son and wife, and he basically has a new teacher job at a local high school. And pretty much what happens is that he has all these flashbacks of when he was younger, has night terrors about um, him and his brother years ago when they were kids, 27 years prior to present day. His brother getting murdered, and then the bullies end up getting killed too by getting hit by a moving train. And as time progresses, he discovers that the bullies that killed his brother are back, and the spirits of them are basically attending the high school and are basically torturing, him and harassing him, and also harassing his family to get revenge on, basically killing him and stuff like that. And then Jim basically has to figure out a way to pretty much stop them so that they'll never come back. And that's basically the plot line of the movie. And I think the story was very well written. Stephen King, you know, he knows how to write. Whether you like his books or not, he's a very good writer. And he can always, write a good story about anything, in my honest opinion. And I hadn't seen this movie for years, and I recently rewatched it, and I think it's very good. Very good adaptation, and I think that this Blu-ray is a very nice release. It's all the films put this one out quite a few years ago. It's very nice. Yeah, picture quality looks great, and I think the DVD. I think it might be a little hard to find. I'm not 100% sure. This is the only one I could find on Amazon. I bought this off Amazon pretty recently, and I'm glad I bought it. And I watched it with my granddad, and we enjoyed this one. Um, yeah, the acting is pretty solid. Tim Matheson as Jim, he does a great job, and I think it's Brooke Adams that plays his wife Sally. She does a good job. She was also in the Dead Zone, and Tim Matheson was in Animal House and stuff like that. And I like the whole atmosphere of the movie, the how like it flips back and forth. because you know that like Jim is a very damaged character, and you know like you see what he went through, and you actually feel very sorry for him because of what he went through, losing his older brother who is practically his best friend, and how it's basically affected his adult life. And he thinks that he's going crazy, and you know he tries to tell people what's going on, and they don't believe him, or they think he's going insane. And you know it's a very well told story. The cinematography of it is amazing, like the way that it's shot, and like the location settings, stuff like that. Like the high school looks really nice, and like the view of like the town itself is very well done, and it looks great. And I also think that the music is also really good. Let's see, Terry Plummery, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, or her, I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, I thought the music was well uh, written and composed. Had really cool music, and there's definitely a lot of creepy, intense moments in this movie. It's not necessarily gory because it was TV, but there's some pretty intense scenes in this, and basically. Um, there's like a whole bunch of craziness going on in the town, like when the bullies come back, like, they basically go on this like killing spree and everything, and everyone thinks that Jim had something to do with it, and he doesn't. And I think that um, like the way that the uh, bullies are, like they're absolutely terrible, terrible people, and I like how they you know uh, how do I say it? Um, I like how they were able to come back and basically mess with him, and him basically trying to excuse me, him basically trying to get revenge on them while they're trying to get revenge on him. I thought that was a pretty cool idea, and like I think it was a very well paced movie too. It's only like an hour and 38 minutes, 98 minutes, and um, it doesn't feel long at all. It's pretty short, and I think that the pacing is done very, very well, and the special effects first time are incredible. And I still think that the special effects hold up to today's standards. I think for a TV movie and like a '91 movie, I mean, like some people might say otherwise, but I thought the special effects worked pretty well, in my opinion. I mean, like if you agree or disagree, I mean that's fine. Um, and I probably will pick up the DVD at some point, but I'm okay with the Blu-ray for now. And this is actually a trilogy of movies. Actually, this is the only one that was based off of Stephen King short stories. Um, and there's also a sequel. Sometimes they come back again, and sometimes they come back for more. This is the only one that I think I saw. I might have seen the sequels, but I can't remember. I'll definitely have to check them out someday. But if you guys think this is the best one, or if you guys had seen the sequels and you didn't care for them, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear from you guys. What your thoughts about this movie and what you thought of the sequels. But yeah, also it says that um, that the uh, uh, that I think it's what's his name. Uh, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that he did the screenplay. Lawrence Connor and Mark Rosenthal. They did. Uh, they were co-writers for Planet of the Apes, and Robert Russell's from Thrash, and William Sanderson is from Blade Runner, and Nicholas Sadler is from Scent of a Woman, which are all great movies. I haven't seen Thrashing, but all the other movies that they mentioned are good. But yeah, I also think that I also like the chemistry between, um, you know, the father and wife and son. They all do a good job, and the son is, well, actually, yeah, yeah. His son is played by Robert Hy Gorman. He did a pretty good job for a kid actor. He's from Forever Young, which I've never seen that one. Um, and then I just felt like the chemistry worked really well. The how that like he's not a bad father or husband. He's not like the best, but he does a very good job of like trying to protect his family and keep his family in line, and basically tries to support his family even though he might not be the best at doing it, but he does his hardest. And you can tell there's definitely a lot of tension between him and his wife because of freakouts that he's had in the past and stuff like that. And a lot of people think he's like a loony, which he's not, but he has a lot of baggage that he just hasn't dealt with, and that's why you feel sorry for him, and you can relate to the character, I guess you could say, in some ways, especially if you lost a loved one and stuff like that, and you have like survivor's guilt. Like that's definitely what he has, and I like how it's a little bit similar to like Stand by Me and It, um, because like the main character um, pretty much has like survivor's guilt because of losing their brother. Because like Bill is the older brother of Georgie. Georgie got murdered by Pennywise, and Gordy is the younger brother of Dennis, who died in a car crash. And parents pretty much treat them as they don't really exist. I don't think that was the case in this one. They don't really go in depth on that. But like you can definitely tell the similarities between the three characters, that they all have something in common, and I thought that was really cool. And Officer Nell, who's a cop in the original It miniseries, um, actually has an appearance in this movie. And yes, for those wondering, yes, it is the same guy, which is really cool because Stephen King's multiverse, like a lot of stories intertwine with each other in some way, which is pretty cool. And it's not the same actor that plays him, I don't think, but it was cool to see him in there, and he was basically like in a retirement home sort of place in this movie, and you know, and also with like the 27 years later, similarity with Pennywise. He comes back every 27 years, and the bullies come back 27 years after that tragic accident happened with his murder happened with his older brother Wayne. And that guy, uh, Chris Dimitro, who plays the older brother Wayne, was also from Blank Check, which I have seen most of. I haven't finished that. Um, but that's a pretty good one. And he's a good kid actor. And I'm not sure if he's doing much lately. I could be wrong. I don't really know, but he did a pretty good job as the older brother. And the chemistry between the kid actors I thought were nice. The how that they were there for each other and stuff like that. And Wayne was basically the good older brother that was basically wanting to keep the younger brother, Jim, out of danger and trouble and everything. I thought that was very nice and heartwarming, relationship that they had, and you really felt bad that Wayne passed away and everything, and plus that he was so young is absolutely crazy, and you really hate the boys that come back and mess with him and everything. It's just not not a good thing. Um, but yeah, it's good for spooky season. I thought that everything did great. Like the film has a lot of color in it. If you pick up this Blu-ray, I highly recommend it. You can get it for like maybe like close to like $20 or something. So it's not super expensive. It's definitely worth the pickup. Uh, if you haven't seen it in years, you saw it when it first came out, you want to see it again, I recommend picking it up and giving it a try again. And Yeah, so that's pretty much it for my review of Stephen King's Sometimes They Come Back. And thank you guys so much for watching. Happy Halloween once again, and I'll see you guys in the next review.